Copyright again. I hate how dude, the most annoying thing about this is that there is so much copyright stuff used on TikToks that I basically have to mute it. Having said that, it's mostly the same like 5 songs from, I don't know, whoever's hot right now, the top 40 hits, and it's the same ones. Like, people are not only living these quiet lives of horrible desperation, and not only are they like boring personality wise, but they don't even have good taste in music. So if anything, I'm doing you a favor so you don't have to look at TikTok. Not all hope is lost. Some people are self-aware. They get it, and it just sucks. Oh my god. You know what? Taking it like a champ. You got to give her credit like that. Good for you, madam. I wouldn't date you, but that's fine. Somebody will find you. Keep it up there. I don't know how many people have this self-awareness thing. Maybe a lot, maybe a few. Whatever. But you'd be surprised how many people are like, I hate this soon-to-be ex-wife of mine. Or she's like, I hate this guy. He's an asshole. Nobody likes each other. And then they separate thinking, oh, thank God. Now I can go back to being perfect. And he could be an asshole somewhere else. And it turns out, once you get rid of the other person, you get to find out all the stuff. Oh, I actually had a bunch of shit wrong with me too. Now, I would argue, everybody talks about girls hitting the wall when they become... They don't become unattractive, but they become less attractive than they were. And it hits this threshold where people stop saying what they want to hear to sleep with them to actually being honest. That's the first wall. And then the second wall is the ones that they do to themselves. They realize it's like, oh, maybe my ex-husband wasn't a prick. Maybe he wasn't lazy. Maybe he wasn't useless. Maybe I was a giant bitch. Which I'm hoping that makes you guys feel better, because right now, you should be focused on replacing her with something younger, something hotter, something more pleasant, and never putting yourself in a position to get nagged to death again. A lot of you guys have shared parenting arrangements, so if she becomes self-aware, becomes more pleasant, you can be on good terms with your ex, fill your boots. It's the greatest feeling in the world, especially when like they're dating somebody new, but they still come over to smash every now and again, and then give you the kids for extra weekends. It's like win-win scenario. Oh, yeah, that was the point of this one. Don't feel bad. They do it to themselves. They want to do it. All right, check this shit out. Skittles man? Don't be a Skittles man. Dude, have you guys heard of Skittles man? This is Skittles man. Actually, this is exactly what Skittles man was. There was like a chick bitching to her friend at like Applebee's or something like that about how this guy dotes on her, buys her all this stuff, wants to take her on vacations, wants to marry her, and she's like putting him through the ringer, making him jump through all these hoops. Meanwhile, she won't stop talking about this other guy, never returned her calls, never learned her last name, never met her friends, never bought her a thing in her life. She says like, once for my birthday, he bought me a bag of Skittles. And she's like, I don't even like Skittles. And then they were talking, and Royce, Chateau Artiste, was talking about this. Absolutely hilarious. And she just wouldn't stop talking about him because of the guy she couldn't have. He was hotter. He was more aloof. It's a challenge because girls don't like to be pampered. It sounds weird, like they like it, but they don't love it. But what they do love is somebody who they desperately want to pamper them, who refuses to, but they're still into. It's like an ego thing. It's like, once I pick a man, he can do whatever he wants to, because I refuse to admit that I may have picked a wrong guy. I would much rather sit here and pine over him while somebody buys me a trip to Turks and Caicos. But what can I say? Like, if you have to buy a girl a gift and she's still making you jump through hoops, it's your own fault, because I guarantee you she's honest with those guys. Maybe she's not saying who she's pining over, but she is showing that she's not fully invested. Pretty sad. I tell you what, you know what? Here. We're goofing around. We're laughing at TikToks. Oh, look at these women. They're 40 and they're miserable. This is great. Oh, so much. This totally makes up for the fact that I haven't been laid in 9 months. Here. You want some real talk? Let's do like a proper PSA documentary. Some of them are turning around. Some of them are figuring their shit out. Let's watch.
Have you ever looked up the definition of a misogynist? I just did for the first time, and it's not what I thought it would be. Misogynist, a person who dislikes, despises, or is strongly prejudiced against women. It's silly for me to be shocked, but I just always assumed it meant something less extreme, maybe disrespects or is arrogant towards. Do you know what the opposite of a misogynist is? It's not a feminist, like me and my friends originally thought. It's a whole other word we didn't even know existed. Misandry is the hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against men. And I hated that word, because on my worst days, I'm afraid that definition fits me. And it doesn't sound heroic like feminist. It sounds villainous, evil even. The way misogynist sounds like a predatorial dragon come to devour any female to cross its path. It's embarrassing to count the amount of days I have allowed that dragon to take on its female form inside of my heart. My mouth burns with hatred as I use my words as a flamethrower. I hate men. All men suck. Even the good ones are just pretending. Men are beneath me. But the gross part is that it's considered acceptable for me to say these things out loud today. But if I ever heard those words come out of my brother's mouth, I hate all women, women suck, women are beneath me, our society would burn him at the stake, myself included. But my culture says it's okay for me to say those types of things. I'm not a villain. I'm a hero. I'm standing up for myself, for all women. So they fuel the fire and I continue to rage, letting my stored up unforgiveness and pain belittle and set the male species in flames.
All right. I can't take that anymore. Look, guys, I'm gonna let you on a little secret. It's like, geez, that sounds great. She finally gets it. Hating women. Nobody hates women. They're just frustrated or angry. But a lot of girls hate men and they're misogynist, but they're opposite. But it's not feminist like me and my friends. And I'm like, wow, she gets it. But then you realize she's reading off a fucking slam poetry list that somebody else wrote. She doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. She didn't look this up. She doesn't even own a dictionary. She doesn't even know that you can just type dictionary.com in your brand new iPhone. She's too busy sending WhatsApps. Dude, all this is like, I'm going to read this thing. I'm going to put some real sad music in the background, some like inspiring shit, like from a Gandhi or Joe Rogan quote. And then I'll get a lot of followers. That's it. Don't trust. Like, once she starts talking that flowery about dudes, you're like, all right. And I hear, this is why the men's rights advocacy movement is horseshit. Horseshit. Because it's going to be cheerleaders like this that wants male attention. And they find there's a bunch of ways to get it. You can be a thought. You can be super bitchy, and those guys that hate themselves will love you for treating them like shit. Or you can pat them on the head and tell them, there, sir. It's going to be okay. You'll be all right. Everything's fine. I understand. I agree. I'm a pick-me girl. And to be fair, I wouldn't even throw any hate at this girl, because I guarantee there's like an internal war among women. The pick-me girls and the men ain't shit women. And they're like infinity war. Each one of them's trying to get that fifth infinity stone. I don't know what the 5 ones are. It's like, I don't know. Time, menstruation, appies, alcohol, Xanax. I don't know. Captain Planet. I would say having a girl tell you what you want to hear is probably one of the best red flags out there, especially if you haven't earned it. And if you haven't earned it, I'll give you a hint. You want to know what that means? It means smashing, and smashing well. You'll know if you've earned it. Don't let your ego sell you off here. Can't copy. This one's copyright, so I can't do the tune either. Just hum in your head the best Usher tune you can think of. Trust me, we'll get there. We'll get there. That's some Dr. Dre stuff in the back, just in case you were wondering like that. A lot of F-bombs. A lot of uncouth language, you know? All right. So we were talking about the 40-year-old dating thing. Here's what happens. She thinks, I was hot when I was 20. Now that I'm 40, I'm still just as hot. Nothing's changed. The only thing that changed is my husband turned into an asshole. So they get out there dating, and they pull all the best. Remember I was talking about pick-me-girl stuff before? That's like no different than the MRA, except for there's some work involved. Like, anybody can pat the guy in the head and tell him everything will be okay. At least she made some bread. I made sourdough. I'm a trad wife. I got a sun hat and a summer dress. I took a picture in a cornfield. My tattoos are hidden. Like, what more do you want from me? But yeah, then you find out after and here's the thing. I don't think a lot of girls figure this out. A lot of guys don't figure this out too, which is sad. But those who know. If you know, you know. Yeah, no. Guys who are hitting 40, 35 to 45. That's kind of like the girl equivalent of being 18 to 25. It's weird. There's that big gap there, right? That's why a lot of couples that have a younger girl and older guy tend to work out, because everybody peaks at the same time. And so every year after, they start getting uglier together. And that's when they end up as those two old people in the park. You always thought, oh, look at those two great grandmother and grandfathers. They're like 85 and 86. Turns out the guy's like 97 and the girl's like 63. But they look the same, and it's adorable. And they'll die in each other's arms in a sad ending. What's the ending of The Notebook? They'll do that shit. But yeah, like, dude, girls will date, and some will do well, and a lot won't. And the ones that don't do well, they get really angry and bitter about it. And that's where all the demands start coming in, because, like, I'm angry. This dating's not going well, but it can't be my fault. So it's got to be your fault. I'm not an asshole. You're an asshole. And I hate to tell them, it's like, if I have to hear, and I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments for this, but if I have to hear Kevin Samuels talking about holding women accountable one more fucking time, I'm like, dude, they don't care. Let them learn the hard way, and they'll figure it out. So here, enjoy yourselves, guys. Again, don't take these too seriously. Don't go harassing the TikTok people. Let them have some fun. We're sitting here having some good, wholesome fun at other people's expense, and that's what they want, because any attention is good attention. I will catch you on the next one of these, though. Cheers.